Right now, in the United States, roughly 37 million adults are living with some degree of kidney disease. And here is the part that should genuinely stop you in your tracks. 9 out of 10 of them have no idea it is happening. Not because the kidneys stay silent, but because the signals they send get mistaken for something else. Tiredness, a restless night, dry skin, a stomach that just is not as hungry as it used to be. If you are over 60, your risk is significantly higher than the general population. And today, we are walking through 7 early signs that your kidneys may be asking for help. Stick around until the end, because the 7th sign is the one that has almost nothing to do with how you feel physically and everything to do with how clearly you think. And most people never connect the two. Before we get into it, if you find this kind of straightforward, practical health information helpful, take a moment to subscribe to Longevity Insight right now. This channel is built around helping you and the people you love stay strong, sharp, and independent as the years go on. And we publish new videos regularly covering exactly the kind of early warning signs that tend to get missed in a rushed doctor's appointment. It takes 2 seconds, and it means you will not miss what we have coming next. Now, let us talk about your kidneys. Your kidneys are 2 fist-sized organs sitting just below your rib cage, and they work around the clock every single day without a single day off. They filter roughly 50 gallons of blood daily, removing waste products and extra fluid, balancing the minerals and electrolytes that keep your heart beating properly, helping regulate blood pressure, and even supporting the production of red blood cells. When they are working well, you barely notice them at all. That is exactly the problem. Kidney function can decline gradually over years, sometimes even decades, before it produces symptoms severe enough to send someone to the doctor. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's most recent national data, roughly 14% of American adults, more than 37 million people, are estimated to have chronic kidney disease, and that number climbs sharply with age, with over a third of adults 65 and older affected. This is not a rare condition affecting a small, unlucky group of people. This is something that touches an enormous portion of the older adult population, and most of them are walking around without a diagnosis. Before we walk through the 7 signs, it helps to understand why kidney disease has earned the nickname the silent disease among doctors. Unlike a heart attack or a broken bone, kidney damage typically develops slowly, sometimes over 10 or 20 years, without producing pain of any kind. The kidneys also have a remarkable amount of reserve capacity, meaning they can lose a significant portion of their function, sometimes as much as half, while still managing to keep waste levels in the blood within a range that does not trigger obvious symptoms. This built-in resilience is normally a wonderful thing, but it also means that by the time symptoms become noticeable enough to prompt a doctor's visit, a considerable amount of kidney function may have already been lost. This is precisely why recognizing the subtler, earlier signals matters so much, because catching a problem while the kidneys still have significant function remaining gives doctors far more room to intervene, slow the progression, and in some cases, prevent the situation from advancing any further at all. Let us start with warning sign number 1, persistent fatigue. When kidney function declines, waste products and toxins that would normally be filtered out of your bloodstream start to build up instead. This buildup can leave you feeling tired, weak, and mentally foggy in a way that does not improve with rest. On top of that, healthy kidneys help stimulate the production of red blood cells, and when kidney function drops, red blood cell production can decline too, leading to a condition called anemia, which independently causes fatigue and weakness. So you end up with 2 separate mechanisms, both pulling your energy down at once. Many people over 60 simply accept this kind of tiredness as an inevitable part of getting older. And while some decline in energy is normal with age, a persistent, unexplained exhaustion that seems to be getting worse rather than staying steady is worth mentioning to your doctor. Warning sign number 2 is swelling in the feet ankles, or around the eyes. Healthy kidneys are responsible for removing excess sodium and fluid from your body. When they are not functioning properly, that fluid has nowhere to go, and it builds up in the tissues, particularly in areas affected by gravity, like your lower legs and feet. You might notice your shoes fitting more tightly by the end of the day, or indentations left behind after you remove your socks. Some people also notice puffiness around the eyes, especially first thing in the morning. Occasional mild swelling after a long day of standing or sitting is common and usually not a concern, but swelling that is new, persistent, or getting progressively worse over days and weeks is a signal your kidneys may not be managing fluid balance the way they should. Number 3 is frequent nighttime urination, a symptom doctors sometimes call nocturia. If you find yourself waking up 2, 3, or more times a night specifically to urinate, and this is a change from your normal pattern, it is worth paying attention to. Healthy kidneys concentrate urine more during the night, which is part of why most people can sleep for several hours without needing to get up. When kidney function starts to decline, this concentrating ability can weaken, leading to more frequent urination overnight, even if your total fluid intake has not changed. Now, to be fair, nighttime urination has several possible causes, including prostate issues in men, bladder conditions, or simply drinking fluids too close to bedtime. But if you have ruled out the obvious explanations and this pattern persists, it is a symptom worth raising with your doctor, specifically in the context of kidney health. It is also worth noting that this particular sign has a compounding effect on overall well-being, because interrupted sleep night after night contributes to daytime fatigue, irritability, and even higher blood pressure over time, which means an unaddressed kidney issue can end up quietly worsening several other aspects of health at once, all stemming from a single overlooked root cause. Warning sign number 4 is changes in your urine itself, and this is one of the more direct signals your body can send if you know what to look for. This includes urine that appears foamy or bubbly, which can indicate protein leaking into the urine, something that should not normally happen in significant amounts. It also includes urine that looks unusually dark, brown, or tea-colored, which can point to blood or concentrated waste products. Some people notice a change in how often they urinate overall, either significantly more or significantly less than usual, or urine that has an unusually strong or different odor. None of these signs alone confirms a kidney problem, since diet, hydration, and medications can all temporarily change the appearance of urine. Beets, certain food dyes, and even some vitamin supplements can temporarily tint urine in ways that look alarming but are completely harmless. The distinction doctors look for is persistence and pattern. A one-time change after eating something unusual is rarely significant, but a change that lasts more than a few days, particularly foamy urine or blood-tinged urine, deserves a phone call to your doctor rather than a shrug. Number 5 is poor appetite, sometimes accompanied by nausea or metallic taste in the mouth. As waste products build up in the bloodstream due to declining kidney function, a condition called uremia can develop, and one of its hallmark effects is suppressing appetite. Food that used to taste appealing might start to taste bland, or you might simply feel less interested in eating even when you know you are hungry. Some people describe a persistent metallic or unpleasant taste in their mouth that makes meals less enjoyable. This can create a frustrating cycle, especially in older adults, since reduced eating can also lead to unintended weight loss and further weakness, compounding the fatigue we talked about earlier. If your appetite has noticeably dropped without an obvious explanation, like illness or medication changes, it is worth mentioning at your next appointment. Warning sign number 6 is itchy skin, sometimes intense and difficult to relieve with ordinary lotions or moisturizers. This happens because when kidneys are not filtering waste products effectively, those toxins can accumulate in the bloodstream and irritate nerve endings in the skin, causing persistent itching that has nothing to do with dry weather or an allergic reaction. Some people describe it as a deep, generalized itch rather than a localized rash, and it often does not respond well to typical over-the-counter itch remedies because the itching is being driven from the inside rather than caused by something on the surface of the skin. If you find yourself scratching frequently, especially in a way that disrupts your sleep or does not improve with moisturizer, this is a symptom that deserves more attention than most people give it. And now, warning sign number 7, the one I promised you at the start: difficulty concentrating, sometimes described as brain fog. This connects back to the same buildup of waste products and toxins we have talked about throughout this video, because your brain, just like every other organ, depends on clean, well-balanced blood to function properly. When kidneys are not filtering effectively, this can affect cognitive function, leading to trouble concentrating, difficulty following conversations, memory lapses, or a general sense of mental cloudiness. Kidney function also plays a role in regulating certain electrolytes, like sodium and potassium, that are essential for normal nerve and brain activity. So an imbalance here can directly affect how sharp and clear your thinking feels. This sign catches people off guard because almost nobody thinks to connect trouble concentrating with their kidneys. Most people assume mental fog is related to sleep, stress, or simply getting older. And while those factors certainly matter, doctors say that unexplained cognitive changes in someone with risk factors for kidney disease should prompt a kidney function check as part of a complete evaluation, not as an afterthought. Now that we've gone through all 7 signs, let us talk about what actually puts someone at higher risk for kidney problems in the first place, because understanding your personal risk profile can help you know how seriously to take these symptoms if they show up. High blood pressure is one of the 2 leading causes of chronic kidney disease, alongside diabetes, and the relationship works in both directions. High blood pressure can damage the small blood vessels in the kidneys over time, and kidney damage itself can raise blood pressure further, creating a cycle that gradually worsens without careful management. According to CDC data, a large share of adults with diabetes, both diagnosed and undiagnosed, also have some degree of chronic kidney disease, which is exactly why doctors emphasize kidney monitoring as a standard part of diabetes care. Dehydration is another risk factor that is easy to underestimate, particularly for older adults, since the sense of thirst naturally becomes less reliable with age. This means older adults can become meaningfully dehydrated without feeling particularly thirsty, and chronic, mild dehydration puts ongoing strain on kidney function since the kidneys need adequate fluid to filter waste effectively. Certain medications also carry kidney-related risks with long-term use, including some over-the-counter pain relievers like ibuprofen and naproxen when used frequently or at high doses, as well as certain prescription medications for blood pressure, acid reflux, and other chronic conditions. This does not mean these medications should never be used, but it does mean that anyone taking them regularly, especially over months or years, should have kidney function checked periodically as part of routine care and should never hesitate to ask their doctor or pharmacist whether a particular medication combination carries kidney-related risks worth monitoring. It is worth pausing here on just how striking the underdiagnosis numbers actually are, because they explain so much of why this video exists in the first place. National Health Survey data suggests that roughly 9 out of every 10 people living with chronic kidney disease do not know they have it. And remarkably, even among people with more advanced kidney impairment, a meaningful share remain unaware of their condition until it has progressed significantly. This is not a reflection of people ignoring their health or failing to pay attention. It is a direct consequence of a condition that, by its very nature, tends to stay quiet until it no longer can. That is exactly why the 7 signs in this video matter so much, because they represent the small cracks in that silence, the moments where the body starts to whisper before it eventually has to shout. Family history matters as well. If a parent or sibling has experienced kidney disease or kidney failure, your own risk is meaningfully higher, and this is worth mentioning explicitly to your doctor, so it can be factored into how often you are screened. Heart disease is another connected risk factor, since the cardiovascular system and the kidneys share many of the same blood vessels and are affected by many of the same underlying conditions, which is part of why doctors increasingly talk about heart and kidney health together rather than as two completely separate systems. In fact, the relationship runs deep enough that cardiologists and kidney specialists now frequently collaborate on patient care because damage in one system so often accelerates damage in the other. A person with poorly controlled blood pressure is not just risking a heart attack or stroke down the road. They are simultaneously placing ongoing strain on the delicate network of blood vessels inside each kidney. And the reverse is true as well, since declining kidney function can drive blood pressure upward and place additional burden on the heart. Recognizing this connection is part of why some of the same lifestyle habits that protect your heart, staying active, eating a balanced diet, limiting excess sodium, and keeping chronic conditions under control, do double duty in protecting your kidneys as well. So, what can you actually do to support healthy kidney function starting today? Staying well hydrated is one of the simplest and most effective habits, though it is worth noting that more is not always better, and people with existing kidney or heart conditions should follow their doctor's specific fluid guidance rather than simply maximizing water intake. For most healthy adults, drinking water consistently throughout the day rather than large amounts all at once helps support the kidneys in doing their filtering job efficiently. Limiting excess sodium is another meaningful step, since high salt intake makes the kidneys work harder to balance fluid levels and can contribute to elevated blood pressure over time. This does not mean eliminating flavor from your meals. It means being mindful of heavily processed and packaged foods, which tend to be surprisingly high in sodium, and leaning instead toward fresh ingredients seasoned with herbs and spices instead of salt. A balanced diet rich in vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and lean protein supports kidney health broadly, and for people who already have some degree of kidney impairment, doctors sometimes recommend more specific dietary adjustments around protein, potassium, or phosphorus intake, which is exactly why working directly with a doctor or a renal dietitian matters more than following generic advice once kidney function has already declined. Keeping chronic conditions like high blood pressure and diabetes well controlled is arguably the single most powerful thing most people can do to protect their kidneys over the long term, since these two conditions are responsible for the majority of chronic kidney disease cases in the United States. This means taking prescribed medications consistently, attending regular checkups, and tracking numbers like blood pressure and blood sugar, rather than assuming things are fine simply because you feel okay. Regular checkups deserve special emphasis here because kidney function is typically assessed through simple, inexpensive blood and urine tests that are often already part of routine blood work. A blood test measuring something called estimated glomerular filtration rate, often abbreviated as eGFR, gives doctors a picture of how well your kidneys are filtering, and a urine test checking for protein, sometimes called a urine albumin to creatinine ratio, can catch early kidney damage long before symptoms appear. These two tests together are inexpensive, widely available, and can typically be added to blood work you may already be scheduled for at an annual physical. Given that the vast majority of people with chronic kidney disease do not know they have it, these routine tests genuinely function as an early warning system, catching problems at a stage where lifestyle changes and medication adjustments can meaningfully slow or even halt further decline. If you are over 60, have high blood pressure or diabetes, or have a family history of kidney disease, ask your doctor specifically whether your recent blood work included a kidney function check, since it is not always automatically included in every routine panel, and specifically requesting it takes only a moment but can provide years of earlier warning if a problem is beginning to develop. I want to leave you with this thought before we wrap up. Your kidneys spend every single day of your life working quietly in the background, and because they rarely announce a problem loudly or immediately, taking care of them requires a bit more intentional attention than organs that make their distress obvious right away. But the good news is that most of the meaningful protection comes from habits that are entirely within your control. Staying hydrated, managing blood pressure and blood sugar, being thoughtful about medication use, and simply paying attention when your body sends one of the 7 signals we talked about today. None of these signs taken alone guarantees a serious kidney problem, but together, or even individually, if they are persistent and unexplained, they are worth a conversation with your doctor, rather than a shrug and an assumption that it is just part of getting older. There is one more thing worth saying before we close, and it is something that applies to nearly every topic we cover on this channel. Protecting your kidneys is not about adding a complicated new routine to your life or worrying constantly about every symptom that comes and goes. It is about a handful of steady, unglamorous habits: drinking water consistently through the day, keeping an eye on your blood pressure numbers, being thoughtful about how often you reach for certain pain medications, and showing up for your regular checkups, even when you feel perfectly fine. These are not dramatic interventions, but their cumulative effect over years is enormous. And it is exactly the kind of quiet, consistent effort that tends to separate the people who stay independent and energetic well into their 80s and beyond from those who find themselves managing serious complications that could have been caught much earlier. Your kidneys do not ask for much. They simply ask that you notice when something feels different, and that you take that noticing seriously enough to make a phone call. If this video gave you something valuable today, I would really appreciate it if you took a moment to leave a comment below and share which of these 7 signs surprised you the most. Or let us know if this is the first time you have heard the connection between something like itchy skin or brain fog and kidney health. Your comments genuinely help this channel reach more people who need this information, and they help guide what we cover in future videos. If you have a parent, spouse, or friend over 60 who might benefit from understanding these warning signs, please consider sharing this video with them today. It could be the nudge that leads to a simple blood test and years of better health down the road. And if you have not subscribed to Longevity Insight yet, now is a great time to do it. We are building a community here focused on clear, practical, science-based guidance for aging well, with more videos on heart health, brain health, and nutrition on the way. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so you never miss a new upload, and I will see you in the next video. Take care of your kidneys. They have been quietly taking care of you every single day of your life, and they deserve a little attention in return.